We're heading to extra time, but there's still 5 minutes to play here, Mark. And by all means, there could be more chances. Still in the box, and it's another goal! And it's Andre Cole, the hero for Croydon! We thought it was over, but it's not over, and Croydon look like they're going to go all the way to the win.
We can't say that now. Here goes Yuki Sasaki into the area. Panagakos, Chrissy Panagakos. Adelaide Comets have taken the lead.
Falcon there, but it leaves Owen Windsor. And a third for Metro Stars.
Here's Emma Ryan. She's not one of them because she's from Darwin. The shot from DeCola. Lily DeCola scores in the cup final again and wins it for West Adelaide.
So as the ball cuts back here to Odenwalder. And James Odenwalder scores. He makes it 2-0 for West Adelaide on the day.
I bet he was going to be Travella if he puts one in. He goes himself instead. And it's still Soy Sakani. It's unbelievable, David, as well. And that one is definitely going to be credited to him.
Will have to be chased down by Rapawano. He'll put in a cross of his own. Hobbs wasn't able to capture it. It's in! It's not the one that seals up the Atletico promotion.
I got the skills to make the girls sing, and the geezers too. Yeah, we're doing this thing.
He's on mute. He's on mute.
What an intro. Guess we have to run the podcast ourselves, guys.
Well,
we've got no say.
Listen, here's our chance. I'm David Grant. I'm your host this evening. It gives me great pleasure to be able to introduce the panel one by one. First of all, I'll go to Mark. Mark, your question for the week is, what's your favourite football ground in South Australia?
Good evening. My favourite, to be honest, I don't think anyone can go past Cooper's, or as I know it, Highmarsh Stadium. I've been lucky enough to play there a couple of times. And it's, yeah, nothing beats it.
Very good. And Alessio, what's your favourite stadium in South Australia?
I quite like Cooper's as well, but to play at, I think Martin. I like when it's full and it's fully surrounded. And it's like a dome when you're on the pitch there. You feel lower and almost in the middle of a Royal Coliseum at some points so that's my favourite. What about you, David? We'll put it back on you.
Well, I guess my favourite stadium in the city would probably be Highmarsh as well. And rurally, I quite like our little pitch up here at Handorf. I mean, I haven't played there for a long time, but it's a lovely setting. Mount Barker's pitch is nice as well, of course. Down in the city, I like Campbelltown's setting. I like looking out over those hills. Seb, have you got anything you want to say for yourself?
Can I speak now? Am I heard? I don't.
Yes.
I realized that I originally, before we started, I had my wrong microphone connected and I tried to swap it without turning my good mic on. So I'm okay now. And you know, I had a really good question today, and I'm really upset it has to wait till next week now. I don't know. I don't have to answer this question.
Come on, Seb, what's your favourite ground? You must have one that you like commentating at, or that you've played at, or you've watched football at.
Played at is a very short list. I don't know. Yeah, Hindmarsh. Yeah, easy. I never have to. I don't like this. Okay. The most uncomfortable start ever. Anyway, I will take the reins back, David.
Really?
Yes, welcome back to to One Game at a Time. It's the 11th of March. As always, we will start off with our picks of the week. I will go first. We had the cup draw today for both the men's and the women's. The women's was, in all honesty, a little bit underwhelming for what it was. It was only the 2 games drawn between Sturt and Modbury Jets and Jags and Cove, with every other team across the WNPL and WSL having a bye. I wasn't actually sure that, I didn't actually know that this was the case. But I guess Mark, will go to you on this. It was an interesting draw to watch for a short amount of time.
Yeah, short amount of time. It probably sums it up in one go, really.
Could have been an email.
Honest, I was going to say, to be honest, I mean, at least we can say there's certainly no fudging the draw or anything like that. They still did it right. They still did it live. So we can say that everything was above board. But yeah, it was a little bit underwhelming, and I think the next one might be a little bit more exciting.
Yes, we'll very quickly move on to the next one. The men's draw was also conducted right after. I'll go through the list of fixtures. Para Hills East versus Adelaide Atletico Sassel versus State League there as well. Teatree Gully versus Gawler for a second time. Teatree Gully playing a State League 2 side. Salisbury Inter and Para Hills Knights looks to be a really interesting one. A bit of a northern derby as well. Cumberland versus Mount Barker for you, Alessio. Croydon and Metro Stars, the grand final rematch. One sure to be very interesting. Modbury versus Eastern. 2 State League 1 sides, Cobras and Western Strikers, Campbelltown and Beergrad, both of MPL. West Adelaide making the trip up to Whyalla, which is very exciting to see. Para Hills West versus Fulham, Burkalla versus Salisbury United, Comets versus Uni, Croatia versus Pontian, Playford versus Sturt, Port Adelaide versus Noarlunga, and Olympic versus Adelaide City. Those matches across the men's and the women's both to be played on the weekend of the 2nd to the 6th of April. David, I'll start off with you with this. There's some great fixtures and quite a few that are all MPL affairs, which makes it interesting towards the end of the cup when you get less and less MPL teams.
Yeah, I mean, if you could just bring the fixtures back up, that'd be handy. I can talk to it. Yeah, look, the all MPL fixtures are great in one way in that we get a big match early on in the rounds. They're also great in another way because lesser teams obviously have a greater chance of progressing as higher ranked sides knock each other out. Croydon and Metro Stars is obviously the big one, if you like. But I'm especially keen to see how the Sassel sides go, just to come away from NPL for a bit. All 3 of them drawn at home. Para Hills East, Adelaide Atletico, Teatree Gully hosting Gawler Eagles. That's a bit of a derby as well, I suppose. And Para Hills West and Fulham. To be honest, I fancy Fulham in that last one, but I think I fancy the 2 Sassel sides at home against Atletico and Eagles, respectively. You know, well, if they march on, then their chances of eventually meeting some big team from the NPL obviously increase. But yeah, the Sassel sides, again, that's my sort of background, I suppose. That excites me. And there weren't any collegiate sides in the Australia Cup this year, were there? They didn't enter any, I don't think, or none of them entered.
Maybe 1 or 2. Is Old Ignatians a collegiate side, or are they a Sassel side?
They're a Sassel side, yeah. So I don't think any CSL sides entered. But I'm excited to see the Sassel sides. I like an underdog story, so there's no more an underdog than the Sassel sides at this stage of the Cup, with all due respect to the Sassel sides.
Mark, for you next, what are you looking at?
I actually did. I like the look of the amateur sides as well, to be honest, because I think they've all got... Powers West obviously got probably the toughest out of the 3 of them. But to be honest, there's quite a number of MPL sides. Playford and Sturt obviously look quite a enticing battle with their current form. Port Adelaide, Noarlunga. Again, it's a State League 2 versus State League 2. So again, I like the fact that the lower clubs are going to get the opportunity to get a step in the next round. And again, with so many NPL sides up against each other, who knows? We might get a State League 1 side getting all the way, or a State League 2 side getting all the way, which should be fantastic. And then they obviously go into the Australia Cup from there as well.
Yeah, it would be the second time that would have happened previous to Mobbery. Alessio, for you, just before as well, Whyalla versus West Adelaide. That's a fun one for them having to go up to.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. A lot of people talking about that. I saw in the comments as well. A lot of people keen to host such a former NSL team like West Adelaide as well, all the way up there in Whyalla. I'm sure the fans are really happy for that as well. On a tough, small grass pitch, as we've seen as well. So we've seen how Adelaide, Croatia struggled going there last. Oh, no, sorry, they went to somewhere else. Sorry. But no, we've seen how teams can struggle playing on those small pitches rurally elsewhere. I kind of find it, just as you guys said, it's a bit annoying seeing some fixtures that we already see in the league later on. I like to see those ones between leagues, as David said, Sassel to State League, or State League 1 to 2, State League 1 to NPL, State League 2 maybe to NPL, as we saw in the previous one. There's probably a bit of a gap that was quite prevalent, but I think in between the ones we've seen at the moment, there's usually 1 to 2 leagues in between these two, mostly one, which is, I think it's going to provide for a lot of close encounters. I think Comets versus Adelaide Uni is the only one with a big gap like that. But yeah, I'm excited to see where these teams can go. I mean, if any of these Sassel teams, State League 2 teams, can get past this round, which is already going to be a big feat for them playing against higher opposition, I think they've got a massive chance to either host a major NPL team at home or go and feature against an NPL team, which would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to, again, these matches we played at the beginning of April. Sorry, David, finish on you.
Oh, I was just going to say, they're just it's hard to read there, but they are played in April. I just wondered, for teams that aren't in the cup any longer, do they play league games that weekend, or do we know if it's a bye?
Is it Easter that weekend as well?
It is
maybe?
Easter, and there was no league fixtures. Yeah, there was no league fixtures on that weekend yet. I know, at least for State League 2 level. So that was one of the weeks where there is no game. So unless there's teams who are both not in the cup can play a rescheduled one maybe, but I usually think they have a bye, and maybe some teams play friendlies that weekend.
Yeah, they usually do a bye, or not a bye, but they'll just have the week off. And back when I was younger, when I actually played, they would actually schedule a game on the Saturday and then a game on the Monday, but it wasn't normally Easter. It was another long weekend. So we would play the Saturday in the league and then Monday in the cup. So they've changed that now, obviously, with obviously recoveries and things like that. So they've changed a lot of that since, but unless they reschedule, 2 teams not being in it, they might reschedule, but normally they'll just leave it as a cup weekend.
Very much looking forward to that weekend when it comes. David, I'll go to you next for your pick.
So my pick is my own self. I'm being a bit self-indulgent. I had the privilege and the honour of commentating on the game between FK Beograd and Adelaide United at Hindmarsh Stadium at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. I didn't think anyone would be watching, but it was a standalone fixture and it did feature Adelaide United. And in the end, I think the last tally I looked at on YouTube was 16,000 views. And at one stage, correct me if I'm wrong, Seb, I think there was over 2,000 people watching concurrently.
2,500 was the peak concurrent that I saw when I was looking, at least.
So I think we have to start a campaign to have games played on Friday afternoons, because that's the biggest audience that we've had in a long time, excluding obviously cup finals and grand finals. I did thank Football South Australia for giving me that gig. I was really chuffed that they gave me it. And then the person at Football South Australia that we deal with kind of shot me in the foot, or shot himself in the foot by saying, well, Mark was interstate with work, Johnny wasn't available, Simon and Seb were in another game, Alessio's off, he's having some post-dental work done, and then you guys are all at Fringe, so you were the only option, David. So I was chuffed until he said that. But it was nice to be there. I've been to Hindmarsh obviously plenty of times before, but I've never been up quite so high as I was. And I should have brought an oxygen tank and some opera glasses, because the pitch was miles away. So my apologies to the players who were playing if I got some of you confused, but you were an awful long way away. I was right up in the very top section up there. And enjoying my own company. And Seb, obviously you were there too. You popped in to say hello, which was nice as well. But it was good to be back at stadium. That ground, I did a bit of research on Hindmarsh itself. It's been a recreation ground since the late 1830s, so pretty much since colonisation or settlement or whatever you want to call it. But it's been a recreational ground for it's only 2 kilometres from the city centre, but a recreational ground has been there since the 1830s. And they played various sports on it, disorganised sports on that paddock. It was originally called Lindsay Circus after the surveyor who'd marked out the town of Hindmarsh. And then in 1900 or 1905, they developed a little pavilion, which Seb has a picture of, which is no use to those who are listening, but is interesting enough to those who are watching. And if you look in the back there, you can see the little outline of the church there. That's the All Saints Church at the time. It's now the Holden Street Theatre buildings, and you can see the spire behind that pavilion. But that little picket fence, that picture's taken in 1908. That is what the main stand, that's sitting where the main stand now is. So some change in 100 and whatever years it was. It was converted into a rectangular pitch in 1960, and then developed at that point in time by the British it was the Soccer Association of Australia. Before that, it had been called British Association Football. And then since 1960, it's been a rectangular pitch that we see today. I did try to look up the top attendances. Record attendance was 18,430 for Italy versus Nigeria back in 2000. And that Italian side included Massimo Ambrosini, Gennaro Gattuso, who I think might have been a Rangers player at the time, and Andrea Pirlo. And the stadium's record for hosting an A-League side is Adelaide United's game against, it was the Asian Cup, was it Gamba Osaka in 2016 or thereabouts. So that was my pick of the week. It's a little bit self-indulgent, but I was at Hindmarsh and sitting way up the top of there, just looking out. Beautiful view, great game, and we'll talk about it a bit later.
Absolutely. Mark?
I was just going to say, when you said if you look in the background of the photo, I thought you were going to say you'll be able to see me in there. And then I was waiting for it. Then you said about a church. I was like, oh, that really didn't work.
No. Yeah, I could have, but it's cruel to do that to you, Mark. So I decided not to.
Thanks, mate.
Mark, I'll go to you for your pick.
Well, funny enough, it leads on from David's pick there about Hindmarsh Stadium. It was just in the news only the other day that the Jaguars in the WNPL are looking for a home ground, and they've possibly secured a space at Jubilee Reserve, which is out at Tapley's Hill Road and West Beach. So it was been quite interesting because when I saw this, I started to look into it a little bit. So they want to put in a full-blown pitch there, which I think is an absolute fantastic idea. They want to, as you can see there, they just want to put it just to one edge there, and I think that's Tapley's Hill Road. But funny enough, all the clubs that are actually there are not happy about this. So I started to look into it, and back in December last year, they actually went to the community. They did a lot of fact-finding, things like that. And the news outlet, I don't know if anyone saw it, but they posted, oh, we don't want it. They weren't consulted, things like that. And so I looked into it, 719 survey responses, 122 online questions by 46 different people. They reached over 30,000 people in the sort of submissions of asking whether this is going to work and things like that. They also involved all the clubs that were there for input as to how they can continue to use it as an open playing field and things like that. And it's funny enough, the clubs that are involved are not happy about it. And I found this quite interesting because it's actually one of the main instigators is Craig McDermott, who is a former AFL player, played for the Crows. I believe he was actually a captain, I think, very early on. But I found it interesting that they're going on about that they can't use it and things like that, and it's going to affect everyone there. And it made me start to think, and I was like, okay, let's have a look at it. And the likes that they're complaining about, especially the footy players, they've got their own footy oval only a stone's throw from there. Yes, they use it for training, but they've got their own footy oval stone's throw, dedicated footy oval stone's throw away, which I found quite interesting. So it fascinated me. But then I look at it and go, well, why are they not happy about it? Northwest Junior Soccer Association, they're not happy because they're going, well, we use the space for the Northwest Soccer Association, which is understandable. But I look at it and go, well, if they were smart about it, they'd join forces with Jaguars, create a clear football pathway for all the junior girls that are playing in the Northwest Junior Soccer Association. it's just a natural flow that gives them a pathway to then lead into WMPL, and obviously the FSA women's pathway, which for me is a no-brainer. I don't understand what their issue is, but it also promotes the whole area because there's a bowling club there, there's a croquet club there. But for me, if people start going there, they're going to go, oh, I didn't know that. I had no idea there was a bowling club there. I now know there's a bowling club there. I now know there's a tennis club there. It all of a sudden it opens up the door for all of these other sports to jump on the women's sport bandwagon, as in it's growing, continue to have it grow. Why not utilize that to their advantage? It just makes sense. But yet a lot of these people are against it, and yet they've gone through the whole planning stage. They've involved all of them, and yet you've got these people saying they're not happy. And it's like, well, you were there involved in all of it. Like, I don't understand what your issue is. And as you can see from the pictures, they're taking up a very, very small portion for one pitch. That's all they've got is one pitch. And it's already been stated that they'll be using it it's still open to the public outside of training and match day, or like during the game. So I can't understand what the problem is. So I'm hoping, for Jaguars' sake, that it comes through, they get the funding and they get their home pitch, because I think they need it. But I think if the other club, and I think Jaguars will probably look at it as well and go, hey, we can bounce off the other clubs, and they could create a real good community of clubs there to utilize that space, and it could become an absolute massive hub of sports. I mean, it's a massive space, so why not utilize it? That's just my pick of the week.
Yeah, no, that's good. I didn't see it all, but did the likes of Mr. McDermott and so on that were opposing it, did they offer anything else, or was it just a no and kids should just play in the big open field? Did they have any ideas for an alternative?
They just want to keep it as a big open field, and access to everyone. But like I said, they stated that as part of it, the soccer field will still be accessed by the people that are there. And as you can see, it doesn't take up a lot of space when you look at the actual size of that oval. And like I said, the Schmosh footy guys were up in arms about it because it takes away from their AFL pitch. But like I said, there's still plenty of space there to train on and things like that. There's still plenty of space for the Northwest Junior. And like I said, if they utilised it properly, if Northwest was smart, they'd go to Jaguars and go, hey, can we build something together?
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I mean, you think about the kids that are kids there who have got the space and the opportunity. They're probably paying council rates and everything out there, and and they just want to play an organised sport, because I guess that discipline's required sometimes with kids. They they don't go out and play in the street like they did when I was a kid.
No.
So that structure is probably more necessary, more relevant now than it maybe ever has been. And so to be denied that is a bit of a shame. But oh well, we're just observers, I guess. We can't do anything about it from here, can we?
Like I said, I hope that it goes ahead, because I think Jaguars need a home ground. It'd be great for them. And like I said, if the other clubs are smart about it, they'd jump on that. Like I said, the women's football's just only grown, and it's going to continue to grow and get bigger. Why not utilise that for their own advantage? And like I said, I didn't know half the clubs were there. Now I know there's multiple sports that play out of that. Why not utilise it? Instead of trying to fight it, go, hey, how can we grow from this? How can we make it work in our favour? But we'll see. Hopefully Jaguars get a home ground. That's all I can say.
It's probably in the community sports constitution that they're all supposed to work together. I bet it is. I've been involved in the administration of football and sport before, and in those constitutions it very often says, you work together for the common good of sport in the community. But people lose sight of that when they've got their own interests at heart, which sounds to me a little bit like what's going on. This is our sport, this is our silo, nobody else can come in. But
pretty much.
Yeah. Well.
Alessio, on to you for your pick.
Yeah. In a different vein, I was watching the FA Cup over the weekend, the English football one. And obviously there was some big cup sets. I watched the Mansfield Arsenal game, which was great to see at a local ground. And I watched our very own Joe Gauchi at Port Vale play host to Sunderland, Premier League team. And yeah, they got the win. It was another semi-local in a Kiwi, Ben Wayne, who scored the winner. His third winner in 3 FA Cup games, all 1-0 as well. Hopefully a player I'll see at the World Cup when I watch New Zealand as well. And yeah, Joe Gauchi as well, who on the stats provided a man of the match performance. I mean, watching some of the highlights post-game, and you can probably see some of them here. I would say he kind of got away with a couple. There's a couple that he misjudged quite bad. He misjudged 2 quite badly, and he was lucky that they were saved over the line. He obviously made a couple to keep it as a clean sheet. And there's a couple near post which you made some very good saves to hold him as well. But yeah, it was fantastic to see. I know there was a few of his ex-schoolmates that were watching as well from Sacred Heart. And they were, it's obviously a massive thing for them. They're bottom of League One, but they're on this FA Cup journey, which is the first time, I think, 72 years they've made the last 8. And yeah, I thought it was fantastic to see as well. And it's hopefully something that can provide a lot of inspiration to a lot of our local teams here who are potentially near the bottom of their leagues, but they can go on a little Australia Cup run. I mean, I think it's not too far away for a lot of teams that could do that. And I think the ramifications are definitely not as severe as those teams in the bottom of those leagues compared to some of the ones probably that are in the bottom of our leagues who can't get relegated from the 3rd tier at least.
I think they're drawn against Chelsea up next as well. So
at Stamford Bridge.
At Stamford, even bigger game.
Yeah, huge game. But I did note, as you mentioned, obviously that we've got the obviously the big Gouch and also a Kiwi there. But the actual coach is John Brady, who's actually an Australian as well. And it was funny, he came out after the game and said he wasn't actually that impressed that they won because he goes, we've got to concentrate on the FA Cup, but we're trying to save ourselves in the league. So he's a bit of it's great, but I'd rather be concentrating on the league. But yeah, another Aussie in the coaching staff there, or actually head coach there. So it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good to see. And yeah, we'll be looking forward to that game against Chelsea. Next up, our interview. We had a chat with Adelaide Uni last night from when we were recording. Shall we go back and look, guys, and see how it went?
Yeah.
Wow, what an episode we've had so far, guys. Mark, what's been your favourite part of the episode so far?
I think that my favourite part's probably been the question of the week this week.
Oh, wow, what a good one it was for me. It was always great as always. It's a knock at the door. David, I think it's your door this week.
Oh, it's my turn, okay.
Yeah, it's your door.
Hang on.
Unbelievable. I never expect it every week, you know. It's always a surprise to me. Oh, wow, he answered that very quickly.
You won't believe who it is.
Who is it, David?
It's only Duncan Soang and Alysia Panagakos from Adelaide Uni.
Wow.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to the show. Pleasure to have the both of you. We'll get started. First question I asked to all our guests, it's a fairly simple one. Your footballing journey / story up until now. Duncan, you go first.
Well, for me, it's a bit of an interesting one. I don't have a very noteworthy playing career, mainly because I was no good. But I knew from a young age that I did want to coach. I didn't play football in a club environment, at least until I was a senior, until I was an adult. So I was a cricketer in my younger years mainly. So I played for my school team, and we always had people who would finish school and then come back and coach. And I sort of felt like it was a really cool kind of to go back and engage with them once you'd finished. And I always said I want to do that. And so I started doing that, and I was coaching, young kids, probably year 5 or 6 or whatever it would have been. And then slowly but surely enjoyed it and got more into it. And then from there, I've kind of gone off in all sorts of different directions, really. I've coached pretty much every age group, both men and women. So I've done junior boys at Modbury Vista. I did a junior boys team, and then I've done some stuff in the state sort of SAP and SDP programs with Richie and the crew at Football SA. I did a year of senior men with Robbie Saraceno over at Fulham, which I really enjoyed. I've done some junior girls in the state program there. And then obviously I spent probably 5 years doing Modbury Vista's senior women's program. And then the last year and a half I've been at Adelaide Uni. So I've kind of seen a bit of everything, done a bit of everything, and enjoyed it all along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Panna, for you?
I pretty much just played school soccer for a long time until about year 7 when I was picked for the Sapsaza Carnival. And from there went to play juniors at Campbelltown. So I spent a few years there. And I stopped playing club soccer in my later years of high school and joined my school's collegiate team. So I played for Old Ignatians for a couple of years. That would have been 12 years ago. And then I joined Adelaide Uni and kind of made my way up through the ranks. So I actually started in Div 3 at the club and played a year there, and then played a year in Div 1 and then made the move up to Prem's reserves. And it's really been the last 5 or so years that I've been more consistently in the first team. So, yeah, it's a long time that I've been at uni.
No, perfect. Good to hear. I guess next one, your game from the weekend, your opening round game against Flinders, you won 2-1. I guess sort of I'll get the perspective from the coach and the player, Panna. I'll start with you. 2 great goals that you guys scored in particular as well.
Yeah, they were great goals after a hard-fought battle. Probably not the cleanest game that we wanted to start the season with, and let a couple of opportunities go early on, but really came into form, especially in the second half, and started to be able to create some opportunities and put a couple of chances away. So really happy to get that result.
Duncan, for you from a coaching perspective, how did you see the match?
Yeah, look, it's always interesting to start a season. You don't really know what to expect. I think this year is going to be a very open year in terms of, I think you're going to see all sorts of results week in, week out, where teams are beating teams that you're not expecting, which makes it really exciting. I think for a neutral, you never really know what's going to happen. For us, we obviously, you come in, you want to play a particular way. There's always some nerves and things that go along with round one and the pressure that comes with playing for points when you haven't really been doing that through preseason. But look, we were pretty happy overall. I mean, Flinders are a very difficult team to play against. They have, a style that they play, and they're very good at what they do, and they make it difficult for us to do what we wanted to do. And, from my perspective, there's certainly things we can improve on. I think we created a lot of quality chances, which is really promising. I'd like to see us do a better job of finishing some of them. But we did what we had to do in the end to get the 3 points.
Absolutely. I have a question from Paul, one of our WPL commentators, for you, Panna. Do you think this is Uni's best team since you made the finals in 2019, in your opinion?
Oh, wow. I'm trying to think back through all the different lineups that we've had over the last few years. I think it's up there. Yeah, I think it is a really good team this year. We've managed to keep a lot of last year's players and are just continuing to build on the form that we really started to come into. We've got some new international players this year that are really fantastic and a great fit for the team that we have, and a couple of local players as well that we've signed, and we've really just padded it out, and I'm probably most excited to have Evelyn Goldsmith in goals. I think that she makes all the difference. So yeah, I would say that it's one of the best teams that we've had in a really long time.
And I suppose, Duncan, for you sort of going off of that, what is the process for you having to find in particular these international players that you've brought in this year?
I think for me, and I don't know that this is unique to me, I'm sure it's not, but I tend to approach recruiting as I recruit the person first. I'm not really interested in what you can do on a football field if you don't clear the first hurdle of the sort of people that we want to have in our club and in our squad. And I think that's been really important because we've been able to put together a group of people who are very like-minded in how we want to go about it. In terms of the football that we play and the attitude that we approach our football with. And it's really important for me that it's all about trying to be better and improving everything that we do. Every session, we're trying to get 1% better than we were yesterday. And that focus on improvement and development rather than results. I'm a believer that the result is the byproduct of the improvement. If you're constantly getting better, your results are going to follow, right? So for me, it's more about recruiting the person first and then the player. Obviously, we're playing a good level of football. You've got to be a good footballer, but that first hurdle is always sort of personality and cultural fit. In terms of the internationals, it's similar to every other player. You still, you talk to them, you get a feel for who they are as people and what they're looking for to try and figure out if it's the right fit. And then you sort of talk a little bit about what they want to do, what we can offer them. And I think it's important that from my perspective, the players that I bring in, whether they're international players or domestic players, it's not just about what can they do for us or what can they do for our team or how do they make our team better. It's what can I do for you? How can I make you or help make you a better footballer? Whether that's through things that I've noticed in how they play or whether it's just in the environment that we create and putting them in it. It's very much a two-way street. It's not just you're coming here to help us win. It's how can I help make you a better footballer in the process?
No, it's a really cool mindset to have. That's great. Mark, I'll go to you.
All right, I'll start with Alessio's questions because he's not here for this. Unfortunately, he's got other commitments. I'm not sure why, but this should be number one for him. But hey, no, I'm only kidding. He normally asks this question, so I'm going to ask it for him. But I'll aim this one at you, Panna, first. He always asks, best player that you have ever played with?
Oh, wow. I've played with so many and a lot of really good quality players over the time that I've been at uni. I feel like everyone has played for uni at some point. I would say off the top of my head, the best player I've played with is Jenna McCormick. She was with us a couple of years ago. And yeah, for the second half of a couple of seasons, just a really amazing midfielder and defender to learn from, an incredible leader. I learned a lot from her as captain when she came in. So yeah, I'd have to give that one to Jenna.
It's a fair shout. And Duncan, you said that you weren't much of a player, so I'm going to change it slightly. Who's the best player that you've coached? You've obviously coached across a broad spectrum of players. Who's probably one of the best that you've had the joys of coaching? And you don't have to say Panna just because she's your
you do have to say
that. Well, obviously Panna.
If you say that, that's not a problem either.
No, I think I will give you a little bit as a player. I wasn't any good, but I did go to school with John Hall, who's currently at Adelaide City. So that's probably the one for me as a player. As a coach, interesting. I've seen a lot of different things. If we're talking about women's football specifically, I mean, I probably can't go past Sarah Morgan. She was fantastic last year. I think, as an Adelaide United player coming back in, there's always a bit of a fear from the coach's perspective of what are your motives for being here? And to her credit, she was absolutely a team player. She wanted the best for us. She went above and beyond in trying to help us. We're in a difficult patch at that point last year. And it was always about how do I help you guys through what you're going through? And then obviously a tremendous footballer on top of that. So I think that's probably the one for me.
That's a very good shout to her. She's a great player. So I've only ever got to see her play. I've never got to meet her or anything. So I'm going to take your personality on face value because I think you're right in the fact that she comes across that way as well when she plays, from what I've seen her play with Adelaide United. I'm going to go back to you, Panna. You've been at the club obviously a long time. So how was it to be named captain of the side? What's that sort of feeling, especially because you've been there so long? And then how do you assist in transitioning players into the side? You've obviously got domestic and internationals. How do you, as a captain, go about, and you said you learned a lot from Jenna, how do you go about integrating those?
I think I'll answer the latter question first. I think just trying to create a really welcoming environment. I'm a real homebody, so I know that for me, I'd find it very difficult to be on the other side of the world, and just making sure that the girls know that I'm there for them for whatever they need. So they've got my number, and I'll go above and beyond to make sure that they have everything that they might need at whatever time. And, that includes uniforms or doing things with them or driving them, etc., and really making sure that they feel part of the family. So just trying to organise lots of team events and make sure everybody's getting to know each other. In terms of what it meant or becoming captain a few years ago, that was huge for me. I've been, like you said, at the club for a long time. I was Resi's captain for a couple of years, I think, before making the jump to Prems. And the club has certainly seen better days, and I've been there through all of that. So to try and kind of stand at the front and have a small part to play in creating a positive environment and trying to drive the way forward was really important to me. And I really cherish being able to hold that position, and looking forward to this year with that as well.
Yeah, because you have seen quite a number of things happen there over the years. You've had quite a number of coaching changes. How do you put your best foot forward with obviously many? I know a couple that you've had just recently. Obviously, you had the likes of Tony Saka. You've had you also had a Jason Trimboli at one stage, and those years were obviously harder. They were fighting relegation and things like that. How do you put yourself in those positions? How do you help them? How do you try and bring that team forward with obviously so many changes?
It's difficult. I think just recognizing that everyone is trying to make positive changes. So everybody's there to try and make a difference, and just approaching every season with an open mind and treating it as another fresh start. We've not always maybe ended up in the position that we thought that we would for various reasons, and there's no one person or one thing to blame for that. But I think, like I said, approaching every season with an open mind and just giving it our best go. It's not been easy, but certainly learnt a lot. And I think we're finally on a good trajectory forward this season, and coming out of last season too. Despite where we ended up, I thought that the football was much more positive and we had a really good mix of results. So, we'll see how we go.
I was going to say, it seems to be on the upward trajectory, that's for sure. Duncan, you got appointed last year into the role, and then reappointed again for this season. How did you feel? What were your feelings in that regard? Obviously, you'd come in part of the way through the season, then it's a reappointment for this year. They obviously, how did that come about? Because obviously, was it not a 2-year deal or anything like that? Was it let's see how you go type scenario, or was it because obviously they've reappointed you for 2026, and now is your contract on a longer term than just the 1 year?
No, it always has been and is still just year to year. But from my perspective, it was never a 1 year adventure. I think, Panna knows this better than I do, but the last, probably, let's say the better part of the last decade hasn't been great for the uni women's program.
No.
And you don't fix that overnight. You can't change that overnight. You need time. So when I took the role originally, I knew that it was going to be a longer term project. It wasn't, a 1 year plan to take them back to glory. And that was part of what appealed to me. And the year to year thing, really, from my perspective, is it's an administrative exercise, right? I'm looking at it as I'm here until the job's done or the club gets rid of me, but ideally until the job's done, right? So in my head, it's just it's an administrative part about the year to year thing, but it's more about the project and what I could see that we might be able to do. I think that's always been something that appealed to me. When I took the role at Modbury Vista originally, they were playing Div 3, and we took them into Div 1 and then into State League and then into the WNPL, and building that was quite a lot of fun. Obviously, we ended up getting relegated, and then it's great to see that the club Vista is now back in the WNPL, which is fantastic. And a lot of the girls that are in that team were in my team, and so I've still got some fond memories there. But that whole project was really interesting to me. And then this is another one where I actually look at it and go, there's an opportunity for me and my team to make meaningful change here and to actually have a difference, to make a difference. And so, yeah, it's year to year, but I'm looking at it as a more bigger picture, that this is a journey that we're on now. And so I'm, as far as I'm concerned, I'm here to see it through.
It's a really positive way to look at it, because like I said, I know a few coaches that would be like, oh, I'm not doing a year to year, I want a contract, and trying to implement that project, but you're happy just to go implement your project regardless. So, but it all seems, from my end, very positive, which is great. And like I said, I think it's going to be a very exciting year for uni this year.
Yeah, I think you got to, for me, it's about, you got to back yourself in. Like, I've got to trust that what I'm trying to do here is going to work. Because if I don't believe in that, then there's no point in starting it to begin with.
So there's no point in you being there otherwise.
Exactly. So it's that's where it's like, I don't really, the paperwork is the paperwork. It sits in the background and it governs things, but it's not really important to me. I trust in what we're doing. I trust that we're going to have success over a period. I accept that it's going to take time to get to where we want to be. But I think, the club obviously believed in what we're doing enough to give us another go at it. And from where I'm sitting, we're continuing to make positive steps, some bigger than others, but it just takes time. But it's about, as I said, believing in the project, believing that what we're doing is going to work. That then justifies the, decision. I don't really care whether it's year to year because it's going to be successful. And so if it's 5 year to years, then happy days.
Well, in the short term, there's no pressure, but I tend to pick the guys that are on the show. I pick them for that week, regardless. So no pressure. There is a short-term goal. There is a short-term target on the line.
We'll see what we can do.
All from you, Mark.
That's all from me.
David, to you.
Okay, I've just got, normally I do the silly questions, but I've actually got a couple of serious ones after having listened to what you both had to say there. My first one was, I think we forgot that you, Duncan, were nominated or elected or picked or selected to be involved in the WNPL All-Star team last year. I just wondered how that came about and what your thoughts were on it looking back now.
I don't actually know how it came about, to be honest, other than I got a phone call from Carl Maynard and he said, do you want to be involved? So I don't know what the workings in the back end were, but that's sort of how I came to be involved in it. Look, for me, it was a great experience. It's something that being involved with different players that you don't get to work with normally and see different ways that different coaches go about things. I learned a lot from that week, even though we only had, 2 trainings and a game, I think is what we had together. But it was really fun to be a part of, obviously meet some new people. And I went into it hoping that I could help the players that I was working with. There's only so much you can do in 2 sessions in a game, but there's still an element of, I'm here to coach. I want to try and help make you guys better. And I think, Carl's direction through all of that week was very much about, let's try and give Adelaide United a run for their money. Let's actually show what we're capable of doing. And I think, if you look back at that game, the first 10 minutes, there obviously a bit of nerves from the girls in the All-Stars team. But once they settled, we actually played well. It was a competitive game of football that I think those girls should be proud of being involved in. And I was proud of being part of the coaching staff and quite grateful to Carl for giving me that opportunity. I think it's something that, more should be, there should be more support from the players, the staff around the league that, get people involved if it's their opportunity, support them, give them opportunities to learn and grow and develop. And that's only ever going to be a good thing.
Cool. And Alysia, we mentioned earlier on that one of the players that you'd played with that you admired was Jenna McCormick. Now, as recently as the weekend, Seb and I were in a discussion with someone else about whether Jenna McCormick was running an AFL competition in Norway. Are you still in touch with her at all?
I do follow her. I follow her on Instagram, but I don't know anything about that. I can follow up and let you know.
Yeah, well, please do. Yes.
Why did you have to bring that up?
We were talking about it recently, and Jenna's mentioned there. So, it was just one of those things we're talking about recently. Now, I was going to ask you, and either of you can answer this, just about the grounds at Adelaide Uni there. Obviously, you play in that really nice pitch next to the zoo. And you might not be able to answer this, or you might not have the information, but given that it's an open field, and I believe the men's team can play there, whether in State League 2, but not State League 1, that you guys are calling Service FM home for this season because it's not the ground's not compliant with WNPL criteria. Just wondered if you had any information about what plans there were, or if plans were able to be lodged for development of that ground in terms of fencing and the other requirements for WNPL and State League 1 and above.
I'll field that one as best I can. We don't have all of the information. I'm privy to some things, but not everything, and I suspect not a lot in the grand scheme of things. The challenge with it is, I think we'd all love to play at Grads. We'd love to have our own home ground. I think that's true of every team. The challenge is there's 2 challenges. The first is it's a uni ground. It's not uni soccer club. We sit under the Adelaide Uni Federation, if I can call it that. So there's that level of compliance that we have to deal with. But probably the bigger one is it's technically still considered parklands, and the Adelaide City Council is obviously not a big fan of putting up anything permanent in the parklands, and for good reason. It's one of the beautiful parts of our city. But that then creates some difficulty being able to comply with the requirements to play in the WNPL or the NPL, around permanent fencing and those sorts of things. So I know it's something that the club have looked at trying to do previously, and I'm sure it will be revisited a number of times. And we are seeing some precedent now. Obviously, Adelaide Comets now have permanent fencing around their pitch, and they're able to comply with the NPL requirements. A little bit of a different location, but there's potentially some room there in the future. I don't know. It's above my pay grade, but it's certainly something that I think we would all love to have. There are just challenges with it, and our attitude generally is if we can't control it, don't worry about it. Let's focus on the things we can do. So from a staff and a playing group perspective, we'd love to have our proper home ground, but we're pretty happy to make Service FM our home ground for the time being.
I have to say that I've played at Adelaide Uni's grounds in the past, a long time ago, and also in my esteemed career as a coach of a JPL side, a girls' JPL side. Both my daughters played. I've got this magnificent photo of my youngest. She's sprinting down the wing at Adelaide Uni's ground, and she's got this look in her face like I'm going to cross the ball over. And the photograph has been taken just at the moment that two giraffes' heads between. There's no football ground like it.
Yeah.
No, we do have a little bit of the coaching staff. We have a bit of a game every year with the international players that's come in. It's like, how long till they realise there are giraffes there? And you're just waiting to see, there's a giraffe. Yeah. No,
it's one of my favourite pictures of my daughter's playing. Is this? She's on the wing. There's two giraffes with their heads over the wall. But yeah, I think I was just going to quickly mention football stock. I mean, I think you played yourself down a little bit there, Duncan, or at least your family, because your uncle Albie is someone that I've come across in my research. I'm doing a little bit of work just now on the 1976 season for various groups, including Football South Australia, doing a bit of an article to review the season of 50 years ago. And there's Albie Soang, Player of the Year in the Sasso Division 1 for MU Finland, Macedonia United Finland. But not only that, that was his second year in the best and fairest count. He won it in 1975 as well. But he was also the leading goal scorer in 76. I haven't sent it through to Seb, but 26 goals he scored in Division 1 in 1976. And he was way ahead of F. Day of Madison Park, who'd only scored 14 that season. So, yeah. So, no, you should be proud of him.
Oh, very much so.
Did you ever come out and watch?
He has on a few occasions, yeah. I think obviously my uncle, my old man, was an AFL guy, and so I think as a kid I did Auskick and all that sort of stuff, and I think he was always a bit heartbroken that I ended up picking football, but certainly Uncle Albert has all of the soccer talent in the family. I believe he played at a reasonable sort of semi-pro level back in Scotland, from Scotland originally, migrated here in the 60s. So I think he played at a reasonable level back there, and then obviously translated pretty well here. But I have seen those photos before, that photo and some others before, and the first time I saw it, I'd had to do a double take because I didn't realise quite what it was, and I was like, I know that name, I know that face. But yeah, certainly it didn't the footballing talent didn't fall on this side of the family.
You hard yourself. You're coaching a women's team in the top tier of the state. So he's not doing that, is he?
No, I think there's somebody described it the other day. I think my assistant Zach made a joke that as a player, I had the brain of a Premier League footballer and the feet of a Sunday League footballer, and that's probably about right.
All right, Seb, that's me done.
Are you done?
Well, should we move into my new segment called David's Quickfire Questions?
David Grant, production.
I'm so glad that's made a comeback, by the way. I missed that.
No one needs to ask whose voice that was, by the way.
All right. So, as I mentioned last week, in the first year we were sort of doing this. We did a "Who am I?" and then last year we did a quiz, but the quiz just seemed to take too long. So I decided to substitute that this year with 10 quickfire questions to be asked in 60 seconds. And you might have seen it last week. I'm just going to ask you quick questions very quickly. You just have to answer as quickly as you can. See if you can get through the 10 in 60 seconds. There are no prizes. It's about taking part of this, okay? So it's not WNPL, all right? It's Community Division 5, okay? Duncan, would you like to go first, Duncan?
Oh, I'm happy to go first if you'd like me to.
Fantastic. So, Seb, you starting the timer now?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, Duncan, what's your favourite ground or venue in South Australia to coach or play at?
Oh, I do like Service FM on the grass pitch.
Okay, what's the most challenging thing about coaching?
The time commitment, being away from my family.
Who's a coach or a manager that you admire?
Marcelo Bielsa.
Which WNPL side will finish top of the ladder and be the minor premiership winners?
I'd love to say Uni, but if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say West Adelaide.
What place on the WNPL ladder will Adelaide Uni finish?
I'd love to say first. I'll say fourth.
Finish this sentence. In my free time, I like nothing better than...
Sleep or time with my family.
Question 7. Which opposing team is the most formidable?
Ooh, that is a good question. I'll say West Adelaide again. They've got a lot of quality players.
Yeah, that's not a surprising answer. Well done, you. You got 7. You got through 7 of the 10 questions.
I'll take
All
that.
right.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. It's the worst one we've had so far, but yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, Alysia, you've got 7 to beat in
Okay.
60 seconds. Okay, you ready?
Same questions?
No.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Same.
ready? Yep.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, Alysia, what's your favourite ground or venue to play on?
Service FM on grass.
Okay, what's your greatest non-football achievement?
Oh gosh. Probably my work. Can I skip that one?
Okay, number 3, which teammate is most likely to call you seeking some legal advice? Who's not?
Chloe Richardson.
Okay, which teammate is most likely to still be on the dance floor at 5 a.m.?
Isabella Yasello.
Okay, question 5. How old is Duncan Soang?
34?
He's 32, I think. Question 6. What superstitions or football rituals do you have?
I actually don't have any. I do something
question
different every game day.
Okay, favourite pre-match song to listen to?
Anything by Fleetwood Mac.
Okay, good. So look, the scores were tied, 7-all. But I did want you to answer question 8. Can I just ask question 8, Seb?
Okay, that's okay. I'll allow it.
Okay, you can take your time over this one then.
Okay.
This is for either of you. Who scored Uni's first league goal last season in the opening round versus Adelaide City?
There's
Do you wanna take
me.
this one, Tana?
Yeah, I remember that one.
So it was a draw this week, Seb, 7 each.
Well done. Well done to you and the both of you as always. That's just about it. Thank you to the both of you for joining us. Good luck for your game on the weekend and give it plenty of goals because it's my game. So that's the minimum I ask of it. I'll be there. But yeah, thank you again to the both of you for joining us. We very much appreciate it. And yeah, good luck for this week and the rest of the season.
Thanks, you guys.
And
Been a
just quickly,
pleasure.
thank you for everything you guys do for football, both with the podcast and with the commentary. I think it's great. It's just adding
Yeah.
a whole nother level to what we do. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you, guys.
Great chat with the two of them. Good fun. Yeah, overall, very good time. And yeah, of course, they play Comets this weekend. So looking forward to that game for myself, at least, hoping it has plenty of goals.
I'm so glad the question of the week worked out as well.
Didn't even think about that.
First thing I thought of, because I knew what I'd answered, and I was like, that really didn't work out.
That's so funny. It worked out better than it could have. So, we will move on to the results of the past weekend. Yeah, exactly. We had, just quickly, rescheduled Australia Cup game, Adelaide Uni 4-2 against Brassfoot. 2-2 after full time, but Uni winning 4-2 in extra time. I guess, Mark, just a quick word on that one.
Yeah, look, I think Brassfoot were probably unlucky in the end. The game, the first time they attempted that game with the sprinklers or whatever it was that affected their game. But I think, they're probably unlucky in the fact that they took it to extra time. And I think maybe fitness probably paid out in the end, as in Adelaide Uni probably been training since November, December last year. Brassfoot probably only just started in January. Obviously, their season starts a lot later than the in the state league. So maybe that was probably the end sort of thing between the two teams.
Yep, absolutely. So as we saw Adelaide Uni through to the next round, we'll go on to the WSL. Sturt winning 4-0 over Adelaide Jaguars. Cove at home 4-2 loss to Adelaide City. Elizabeth Grove 2-1 over South Adelaide, and Western Strikers 2-1 over Modbury Jets. David, I'm going to go to you on this. Sturt, big 4-0 win for them. And Adelaide City 4-2 at Cove, but they were down a goal on 2 occasions during the match.
Yeah, there's only 3 teams in that competition now that have yet to win a game. The 3 teams at the bottom, Jets, Jaggers and South Adelaide, yet to get wins. Everyone else has had at least 1 win, and of course Elizabeth Grove and Sturt Lions have had 2 wins. And of course Sturt's win in that first round against Adelaide City has put Adelaide City down to 3rd. But Adelaide City and Grove have got a big game this weekend. They play each other. That's a must win really for this early in the season, a must win for both of them. But Adelaide City will be certainly looking forward to that, because they'll be eager to keep up tabs on Sturt. But yeah, Sturt did have that 4-0 win against Jaguars, and it's a nice follow up for them to that first round win against Adelaide City. They scored through. I've lost my page. Sorry about this. They scored through Louis Sava. 2 goals for Charlotte Clark and Kaylee Wakeling. Some familiar names there. These are girls who played in the WNPL 2 years ago, so Sturt have still got some decent players in their side there, and an important win for them. Good for their goal difference as well, and Jaggers will be a bit disappointed not to have maybe got 1 or 2 goals out of that.
Absolutely. Mark, just to finish off and touch on those.
Look, still very early doors, but we can see clearly that Sturt is out to put a real dent in what everyone's expecting Adelaide City's season. So yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway at the moment. Modbury Jets, I think, probably haven't started as well as they would have liked. Same as Jaguars and South Adelaide, to be honest. But it is still plenty to play for. But I think Sturt certainly putting down an early marker at this stage of the season.
Yeah,
just add as well, Seb, just in that Cove Adelaide City game as well, that finished 4-2 for Adelaide City, but Cove were 1-0 up in the 10th minute. City equalised in the 27th minute, but then Cove went 2-1 up. And we talked a little bit about Cove in our preview show, or our season preview show, and how we thought they'd be an improved side on last year. Remember, they did finish bottom of the WSL last year, so they were 2-1 up, they were 1-0 up, and then they were 2-1 up. Late goals, Singland set in the 75th minute, and then a goal right on 90 minute as well, the 90th minute for Adelaide City. So, I think Cove are capable of a few shocks this year. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing their results come in, because I think they're capable of a few upsets here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how those stories develop in the WSL as we'll go on to State League 1. Fulham and Modbury with a 1-1 draw. Adelaide Croatia Raiders a huge 2-0 win over Salisbury United. Cove 4-0 over Eastern United. Cobras 4-0 as well over South Adelaide. Cumberland being beaten 2-1 by Adelaide Atletico, and Olympic versus Adelaide Blue Eagles was abandoned in the end due to injury. Alessio, where do you want to start with State League 1?
I'll start, I guess, where no one really expected. Cobras, top of the league, State League 1. I think we all had them in their bottom 2. And we've had some interesting feedback in the comments of our predictions for the last couple of weeks in the Cup. But they've proved us all wrong. I mean, a massive 4-0 win over South Adelaide, another team we definitely did predict in the bottom 2 as well. But you've got to win the games ahead of you, and they've done that so far. I was talking to a few people around the week about Cobras. I mean, I know a goalkeeper there, Dawson Bujanic, former Mount Barker player, that he'd told us that they'd signed some good imports. They've kept a lot of the team that's been there for a while. They've got obviously some fantastic signings in Augustus Williams as well. And even Shuto Nakamura. And they've lost some big players as well. And I noticed they had lost, I think it's Hinata Kojima, who went to Adelaide Atletico, who's a great midfielder that I had my eyes on in State League 1 for the last couple of seasons. I'm sure that a lot of other State League 1 NPL teams had him. But yeah, I mean, at home, they've done well in the Cup the last couple of weeks. And yeah, they're proving everyone wrong. Obviously, those two Harpers boys are scoring the goals, and the one at the other end is also keeping them out. So I think they've got to keep going the way they are. And I think we're going to have some interesting predictions this week when we face them up against who they're versing. But big surprise in the State League 1. The other one, I guess, we also got some feedback on from Cove versus Eastern. Another 4-0 win there. Adelaide Cove, being the victors in that occasion. It was pretty similar, I guess, to the preseason game we saw a couple of weeks ago where they demolished Eastern 10-3. In this game, it seemed like it was all one-way traffic for the Cove. JJ Ryder getting a few. We're getting one at least, 2 and 2 now he's got. And then young Zach Becker, his first few goals for the Cove. I thought he might have got this first one and would have got him the hat-trick, but unfortunately went down as an own goal. And yeah, it was just a day to forget for Eastern United. I mean, they were posting some of the key matchups before the game on the weekend, and it just seemed like Cove were the winners of all of those. It seemed like at home, Cove were a team that is very hard to beat, and they really had the backing of all their supporters as well. I know they had a fairly big crowd out there as well. I think there was a late injury or somewhere mid through that second half to a Eastern player. I'm not sure how that affected their game. I know they've been dealing with quite a few injuries over the preseason and the start of the season, but Cove, all guns blazing towards the top of the league there, well, to get up there at least. Commanding win over another probably State League 1 favourite to do well, and one that they've played a fair few times over the last couple of years in the second State League 2.
Mark, for you?
I think I'll have to probably touch on the could be close to upset of the round was Adelaide Atletico beating Cumberland 2-1. I know we've got, I think a few of us have got Adelaide Atletico to sort of struggle and sort of be around the relegation fight. Cumberland to be a lot higher, mid-table to finals. But Adelaide Atletico coming in, young Noel Burkhart scoring in the 40th minute. Good little finish here for him. And then Mayo scoring the winner in the 84th. And funny enough, Adelaide Atletico scored all 3 goals and only came away with the 2-1 win in the end. So an own goal there, and not really much Isaac Martini could do about it, to be honest. But I think it's a massive result for Adelaide Atletico. They went down last week, so it's nice for a team to come up. They've got to get an early win. They've done that in round 2, so I think that goes a long way for them. You want to get as many points as you can early in the season and not having to fight for them at the end of the season to stay up. You want to get just as many as you can just to stay up. So massive result for them. And I think for me, the other game obviously would be, I'll leave the Raiders game for David if he wants to, but the Fulham Mowbray game, 1-1 draw. 2 teams that I think are expected by a lot to be pushing top of the table. So probably a very even result with a penalty there. And it was actually a game of penalties. Ikonomopoulos finishing that one. And then McCabe finishing a penalty at the other end. So, a bit of probably a stalemate in the fact that I think both these teams will be looking to reach that sort of upper echelon of the league. And a pretty simple, straight out 1-1 draw for the 2 of them.
David, on to you.
Yeah, look, Mark's probably covered the games I probably knew a little bit about because I went to the Cumberland game against Atletico So that's okay. It's fine. We've covered that. But I just wanted to mention that, I was looking at the commentary there. It's still up on the roof. I was just sort of gauging what I could do or how you get up there. Good little crowd though. Looked a very sort of social ground. I actually can't remember the last time I've been at Cumberland, so it was good to just pay a little visit there and watch that game. But yeah, so I'll talk about Croatia Raiders. So they played Salisbury United. Now, Salisbury United still trying to get their first win of the season. They, along with Cumberland, Fulham, and South Adelaide, are yet to register a win. Scored early on in the 4th minute through Salafu Jata with a wayward back pass or a short back pass there early on. And Isaac Matakoulis scoring the 29th minute. So it was 2-0 at half time, and that's how it stayed. Just wonder how, Salisbury United are going to go long term. They're a side that we've kind of admired, and we've been out and done commentary out there as well. And, sort of expected them to have had maybe a better start to the season than they have had. So, it wasn't probably a result. I mean, it's good for Croatia Raiders. They were coming off the back of a 2-0 loss, I think, against Modbury Jets in round 1. So the two relegated sides played off in round 1, and this was Croatia Raiders' chance to try and atone for or collect some points that they feel they probably missed out on in round 1. So a good win for them, but not good for Salisbury United. You're only 2 rounds in. You're already, I know it's very early, but you're already down at the bottom of the table looking up at everybody else. It's not a good spot to be after 2 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Alessio, we'll just finish on you.
Yeah, I had a chat to the coach just over social media on the weekend before the game, Salisbury United coach, Matt Gaston. I noted that they've been missing, obviously, their talisman, Matthew Taylor, over the last couple of weeks and in pre-season. I think in the Cup as well, we saw him on the bench a number of occasions. And he's still apparently coming back from a patella injury that is sidelined his pre-season. But he shared an interesting stat with me as well over the weekend because of that missing him and because of a couple of other attackers missing, their chances created to chances converted stats. Obviously, they scored that 1 goal last week. I think they got a draw, but they've been very, I don't know what the word is, unprofitable in front of goals. Is that the word?
Yeah. Unprofitable or wasteful. Yeah.
Wasteful.
Yeah. So it's an interesting stat, and I don't know where these stats are. I guess it's maybe something the coaches take track of, or they get stat sheets as well, maybe from the league. But yeah, it's a cool stat to see among the other leagues, among the other teams as well. But yeah, it just seems like it's not firing up front. I mean, they made a lot of signings defensively and some younger players integrated into the team, but yeah, they're just not hitting all cylinders as we would have hoped and expected, I guess, as well for Salisbury fighting for that title this year.
Yeah, absolutely. On to WMPL round 1. Modbury Vista and Football SA playing out a 1-1 draw. Vista still yet to have their first ever win in the WMPL. Uni winning 2-1 over Flinders United. West Adelaide a 4-1 win over Adelaide Comets. Burkalla and perhaps the shock of the round, a 3-0 win over Campbelltown and Metro Stars. Their first game as Metro Stars, losing 4-0 to Salisbury Inter. Mark, I guess we'll start with, as I said, probably the shock of the round, Burkalla, with a outstanding win over Campbelltown.
Yeah, a massive win. I actually was chatting with Mitch, the coach of Burkalla, only yesterday, actually. Sorry, just losing track of days at the moment. Just talking to him about the game, and he was like, it was a massive win because in pre-season he's been trying to do certain things with the team and just trying to open them up to different techniques, different formations and things like that, and trying to give them a lot more info about roles and responsibilities and things like that. But when you've got a player like Vogelsang in your side, who scored the hat-trick, at the moment it's get her the ball and let her do her thing for sure. But yeah, he was very happy, very pleased with the way they played, the way they pressed. And like I said, I've got Burkalla to do well this year with Mitch in charge, and I think this is just a small snippet of what I think we might see a little bit more of each week from Burkalla under Mitch's tutelage. So I'm really keen to see how they go now. Campbelltown, I don't think it's a bit of a blip for them. I think they'll come back stronger because they had obviously a lot of new players come into the side, so might just need a little bit longer to gel. But we've seen it before with them. I mean, look at last season, they were bottom of the table and then they made finals. So it might just take them a little bit of time to gel, but I still think they'll be a a formidable team this year as well. But it's only round one, so there's plenty of time for them to make changes and obviously get some positive results.
Absolutely. Alessio, any for you?
I watched some of the highlights of that Salisbury Inter versus Metro Stars game as well. I thought that it was some other great finishes there from Salisbury Inter as well. And I kind of expected a little bit more maybe of Metro. I mean, they played a lot of games in a very in-depth pre-season they had as well. We noticed a lot of things were going to come of this Salisbury Inter side, and I'm not sure, did Cote Rojas play?
No, she didn't play this match.
Yeah, so that was an interesting one as well, and still scoring 4 goals. I mean, it goes to show that it's not going to be a one-woman show there all season. It looks like their new signings fitted in quite seamlessly as well. Vidmar as well as a couple of others. And I thought that was a massive win, and probably not one you want to start your season with if you're Metro Stars. I thought that was probably a big highlight for me to note. I mean, I'm not sure where you guys had Salisbury into this year or compared to where you had Metro, but I thought that was a major early result.
Yeah, Marcella Brooks as well, one of their new signings, getting a hat-trick as well. David, on to you.
West Adelaide aren't top of the WNPL after 1 week. You and I went along, caught the end of this, Seb. West Adelaide hosting Adelaide Comets. Chrissy Panagakos scored the Comets goal, but West Adelaide too strong on the night. 2-0 up at half-time. Blackett and Noto scoring before the break. And then Wright and Nelligan scoring in the second half. We only caught the end of it, didn't really take much of it in. But a convincing win against a Comets side that, we know are strong and we know will do well this year. So a good start for West Adelaide. They do have Metro Stars up next, and that'll be a game that they'll be hoping to bounce back from. Metro Stars similarly will be hoping to bounce back from their disappointment as well. The other game I was just going to touch on was Modbury Vista's debut back in the top flight. Now, Modbury Vista have yet to win a WNPL game in their history. They came close. They went 1-0 up, should I say, through Caitlin Williams, who was one of their top scorers, if not the top scorer in the WSL last year for Vista when they won promotion up. So they went 1-0 up, a great run to set that up as well. And Football NTC pulling a goal back in the second half through Daisy Drawwater. It's a very young NTC side. We would talk to Michael Estella about that, and one of the fears he had when we were preparing for our preview show was, well, not fear, but one of the reservations he had was how young his squad is, and you just don't get time in that job to develop the team because they're only there till they're 18, 19 or something, and then they progress out of that. Yeah, they progress 18, is it? Sorry. Yeah. So and then they progress out of that junior setup. So it's difficult for him. If my memory serves me correctly, he has a game coming up this weekend, which will be his 100th coaching. I could be wrong there. I don't have the stat in front of me, but it's a significant milestone for him. 100 or maybe 150 for Michaela Stella coaching in, I think it's NTC, but it might be across the board. Forget that little bit. We can edit that out later. So that's your WNPO. Was there anything else I was going to talk about? No, I think that's it.
And so the only other game that was on was the Adelaide Uni, who were guests this week. They played Flinders in their first round, and they came away with a 2-1 victory, which is a great start for Adelaide Uni, considering the last few years have really sort of struggled a little bit over the year and over those years, and a great start for them getting off to a
great
2-1
finish for this first goal as well. By the way,
it was a fantastic finish. Yeah, it's well hit
off
and
the
then
bottom of the bar
when it hits the bar and goes in, it always looks spectacular. So that was a great finish, and I dare say probably goal of the week for the WNPL. I haven't actually seen all the nominations yet, but certainly going to be up there. But yeah, took a 2-0 lead. Just pure hustle there, great hard work ethic, and coming away with that. And then Georgia Bolton scoring in the 68th minute for Flinders to get one back, but just wasn't enough in the end. So not the best start for Flinders, but some real positive signs for them. As that's their new signing coming from Adelaide City. David, you'll probably know her name. better than I can't remember who it was, but
Vicky Juma.
Vicky Juma, that's the one. We kept saying how we wanted her to get more game time at Adelaide City, so she's going to definitely get that game time at Flinders, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she does. She's obviously already causing a little bit of havoc in the defences for the opponent, so we'll see what she brings this year, but overall, great result for Adelaide Uni.
Yeah, for
Quick
sure.
question on the uni side, and someone can put something in the chat. There's a young lassie playing for them called Caitlin Zapla. Is she any relation to Lachlan? If anyone wants to put that in the chat for us, that'd be great.
There you
Viewers, that's your cue.
Finally, we'll go on to the men's NPL round 2. We had started on Friday afternoon with that Adelaide United FKB grad game 1-0 to Beergrad. Campbelltown winning 1-0 over Adelaide Comets at Ellis Park. A 2-2 draw between Para Hills and West Torrens. Burkalla Sturt, a 4-3 win over West Adelaide in the end. A few goals coming late. Metro losing 3-1 to Playford. And Adelaide City at Croydon. City winning 4-0 there. David, I'll start with you on your Friday game.
Yeah, so Friday, 4 p.m. at Highmarsh. Didn't think anyone would be watching, and it turned out there was quite a lot of people watching. So Friday afternoons, I'm starting a campaign for 4 p.m. on Friday. So yes, FK Beergrad versus Adelaide United at the stadium that is really home to football in South Australia. And Lorenzo Baselli there opened the scoring. I've got my little notes here in front of me. I can't remember what minute that was. Maybe about 38 or so. Yes, well remembered, Davey. So a good win for FK Beergrad. You know, they were trying to bounce back from the disappointment of that first round loss to Sturt, and obviously we're seeking to get some points on the board. If I'm being perfectly honest, can I be perfectly frank with you boys?
Yeah.
I felt Adelaide United were a bit dull to watch. I felt that they didn't play anything. They didn't play adventurous football for me. A lot of it was just possession based, so hold on to the ball and then maybe try and find the breaks, and it wasn't great to watch. So when Baselli scored that goal in the 38th minute, I was I'm impartial of course, but I was quite pleased to see the ball go in the net, because I thought it would open it up a bit more, but in the end it didn't. And for me it was a bit of a lacklustre performance from Adelaide United. They were, if I'm honest, they were just a bit dull to watch. But a great result for FK Beergrad. It gets them the win that they were hoping to probably have got in round 1, although Sturt have found a bit of form, haven't they? The other thing I was just going to quickly mention before we move on to the next game was Massimo Falco. I really felt for him. I saw him actually down there in the bowels of the stadium, if you like. You know, he's had, we think this is his third opportunity to play at Highmarsh, and he's not been able to play in any of them. This year he was suspended for his misdemeanour last week. Last year FK Beergrad were due to play at Highmarsh in round 1 or 2, but the game was postponed, and Croydon had that privilege because of the hot weather, if you remember. And then Alessio, you were saying earlier that there was a time maybe 6 years ago that he was supposed to play at Highmarsh but didn't. Can you divulge what that was about?
Yeah, good friends with Massimo. Went to school with him, good schoolmate, and I remember that year fondly as myself, another player from Croydon was in the reserves final in the Cup. This is the Federation Cup, and he was meant to be in the Adelaide City squad for the Cup for the senior game. That was, if you guys remember, against Adelaide Olympic. Fabio Ferreira scored a goal. I remember that day as well. But yeah, I'm not sure why he missed that game. It might have been injured or cup tied or just wasn't in the squad. That was his first year as a senior player there at Adelaide City, so he was just making his way into the team. But he'd played all the games previous to that in the league, so I thought he would feature, and so would he. But yeah, he missed out on that occasion. And yeah, as you mentioned, in the last couple of years, he has as well. So hopefully they get another chance. I know there's more games at Coopers this year, but yeah, unfortunately that's what happened. And he also did play for the youth team as well of Adelaide United in National Youth League games, etc. But they just never featured at Coopers.
Yeah, I missed out playing there 1 year because I was cup tied, and I was just gutted. It's the only chance I ever had, and it was just for an amateur team in the cup. But back in those days, we played our semi-finals and finals of the amateur league were played at Highmarsh. We got to the semi-finals. So I was cup tied. I played 5 minutes in the other team, and yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. I've put it behind me now, and I've moved on. Anyway, the one other thing I was just going to quickly mention was FK Beergrad. Maybe just a little bit of an issue with their discipline. I think they had 6, maybe even 7 yellow cards. I've got notes in front of me here now, including their coach Adrian Deloya. So there was 5 or 6 outfield players booked. Yeah, I mean, it allowed me at least to get out my line about, more cards than at Christmas, although I said that didn't apply to me because I get most of my cards at Valentine's Day. So that's your that's your conclusion for that game. It was a good game to watch, just one goal in it, and Adelaide United just a bit dull, I felt.
I was just going to say,
deserved the win.
Yeah, just to add on to your point about the discipline, I did notice that the game was pretty heated. Of course, there was that previous game last year they played in the finals, of course, which ended with 2 red cards and pretty crazily. But there definitely was a certain extra bit of something to the match. And I'm not sure whether it was, the occasion and the adrenaline of playing there maybe added to it. But it was an interesting thing to, I think, see throughout the game, really.
I would also just mention that I went down to the pitch before the game started, and it was really warm down on the pitch level. And of course, they do what they normally do at Highmarsh, and they soak it. So it would have been not only warm and dry, but it would have felt quite humid, I would imagine. And it's a big pitch, that by the time we were well into the second half, there were spaces opening up all over the place because players just looked tired, and who can blame them? As fit as they are, it's a big, big pitch. It was a really warm day, and I reckon all that water they put down the pitch wouldn't have helped in terms of the humidity down there as well. So, that's my summary.
Yeah, I'll go next. I was at Para Hills for them versus West Orange Bocala. Great game between these two sides. It was a game of two halves, not to be too cliched, but Bocala completely having the dominance of the first half, and Para Hills, again, I'm not sure of the stats, but hardly had a look in their attacking half. Blackwood getting a header from a corner early on, scoring 2 weeks in a row now. And I mean, this from Zoe Tarkani. He missed one a little bit early. He probably missed 1 or 2, which were, easier compared to a striker, but I mean, you're not going to get much easier than what he did here, just passing it into the back of the net, and that was right before half time. And then second half, maybe Bocala started a little bit, as they were in the first half for about 5 minutes, but Para Hills made a double sub, brought on Michael Diana, who you saw play last week. He scored this wonderful goal from range after coming on. Again, after I'm done, David, I'll go to you on him, because obviously he was a player that sort of came up on the team sheet last week against Croydon that we didn't know too much about, and then scored very late on through Emmanuel Wary, just poking it in the end. And you can see, even this early in the season, how much results like this mean for a club like Para Hills. They've got to get points wherever they can. We have said that they might be a side that struggles, but all in all, a good performance. And again, I'll go back to you on this, David. They are a side that on their day can turn it on. It's just how many days like that do they have, I think. And this is 2 in a row now where I think they've played fairly well and only gotten a point out of 2.
Yeah, that Croydon game that we covered in round 1, or that I covered in round 1, was a real eye-opener for me in terms of what Para Hills Knights show that they potentially could do. They took the lead in that. In fact, they went 2-0 up before they conceded 3 goals later on. But I wouldn't. I feel we've been a bit harsh on them in that previous show. But in our defence, we didn't really have a lot of form to go on, just a couple of friendlies. But I think they'll come up with a couple of decent results through the season. And I actually don't know that they'll go down now. And we're only 2 games in. I've changed my mind.
Alessio, I'll go to you next. Any that you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I guess I did watch a few of them. I guess I had nothing else to do this weekend with my teeth. I remember I was in the hospital recovery room waiting to flick on David's game at 4 p.m. So I was one of his first viewers there on that YouTube stream. But otherwise, the games that I watched was the Sturt versus West Adelaide game. And that was, a cracker. I mean, started great, Sturt. Mohammed Hassan again, pulling the strings from out wide there for Sturt. Rodriguez with a acrobatic one, which, I mean, if you know him, he pulls things like this out all the time. I see him score scissor kicks before and volleys from tight angles and that kind of thing. But, yeah, it's great to see him still going. And he's going to be a legend at that club, I think, especially with his goals to games ratio. Young Ed Elton, of course, scoring his first. Great to see a player come from all the way through the juniors to play for the first team. And even last year, his spot was probably under threat for him to keep it this year. And now with his form he showed in pre-season and his fitness of availability, he's kept it at the moment. Barnett getting on the end of that one, which I thought it might have gone to Moroni, as David said, but looks like he nicked it off the line, David Nugent style. And then Maxim Ivanic and a couple of the other players look like they kind of switched off for a bit, except the attackers, of West Adelaide were just shooting from everywhere at the time being. I mean, Sturt probably had a bit of a lull in the game where they probably needed to make some subs, but weren't able to, as a lot of their players were injured. They have, I think, about 7 out at the moment due to injury or suspension or other reasons, and they lost Sortini early in the game as well. But Thanasi Alessio, who's been a great signing over the last couple of seasons for Sturt, really paid dividends with that goal there. And then this deflected one, made things a bit more tricky in the last couple of minutes. I mean, David said it was only a consolation, but there was plenty of added time after this that they probably could have found something in. But Sturt, nervy win, but probably, as we saw in the grand final last year, these two teams are very close to each other. And you can see that the difference that it's made just getting over the line a little bit, with Sturt getting 2 wins in 2 games, West Adelaide getting 2 losses in 2 games, puts them at opposite ends of the table, but a great win from them. The Campbelltown Comets game was the one that I watched, and was expecting probably more goals than one. And there was some great saves actually from both keepers, especially Dan Vaughan in the Campbelltown net against his old club, had a fairly good day as well. This was the only goal of the game, a great little dink there by Mullen to find Con at the back post, and he finds his way on the score sheet. I know Labasso was working all day to try and get one as well, but I really noticed there was a lot of people putting their hand up to fight for an equaliser there for Comets as well, and I thought they had some great plays out of defence as well. So a big point for Campbelltown. They need to get their season on track, and for Comets again, another team hasn't started too hot so far, but they're the 2 games I watched.
Mark, finish off on you for the 2 evening matches, including one of your own.
All right, well, look, I didn't get to see any of the Playford Metro game, as I was on a different game at the same time. However, massive win for Playford. To be honest, this early in the season, 3 points against and 3 goals against, what we could say is one of the best teams in the state in Metro Stars for a number of years. Andre Carl doing what he does best, to be honest, and that's score goals and good goals at that. Great finish there from him very early in the game, and then it sort of changed a bit. Playford scored almost straight away. I think it was 3 minutes between the 2 goals, and Babasaki has been I won't say revelation for Playford, but he's been such a good signing for them. Coming in, he had a good game last week as well. I think he made our team of the week 2 weeks on the trot now. And then Mr. Reliable, Poundendis, scoring from the spot. He's captain. He's taken over the reins of probably Mr. Playford in Dan Ryan. So he's got big shoes to fill there as a captain and as a goal scorer, and he'll happily take on that challenge. And then Harriman scoring late 85th minute there with a great header. So Playford really putting the knife into Metro Stars, who are obviously in a bit of turmoil at the moment, as we know, with Danny Greystone stepping aside for the time being. So it'll be interesting to see how they rebound next week, and Playford will just continue trying to take those steps with 2 wins on the trot. The game that I covered, I was on the Croydon Adelaide City game, and it was a very interesting game. The first, as we see there, that was Laurie Latanzio scoring the first goal. Vivian getting caught out, the ball getting under his foot. But up until that point, it was Adelaide City probably just in front. But when that first goal went in, Croydon just seemed to drop their heads a little bit. Things weren't working for them. And then after that goal, they conceded another one. Bucco was outstanding. He ran the midfield. He scored there. He actually missed from the penalty spot only a few minutes before that. And in the commentary, we actually said he can't score from the penalty spot, but he'll just score from an absolute acute angle that he shouldn't be scoring from. Yuki Kitano was excellent in the game. When I had to pick a 3-2-1, I looked at it and went, Bucco for me was excellent. Noah Smith was excellent. And then a blanket over the rest of the team. They were all that good. But Croydon just, nothing went for them. It was quite an interesting game. And I said this to GT after the game. The first 15 minutes, they were there or thereabouts. The goal went in. They sort of dropped their heads a little bit. But then none of their passes just seemed to work. They played some great combination play, and they'd get to that final pass and it'd be slightly behind the player, or the through ball be just slightly too long. But that was their whole night. It just didn't click for them up front, and it really told in the end. But again, LA City, we expect them to be up there. They've started off great with that. That's a massive 4-0 result. Croydon, they've got things to work on, but they've also got a good squad as well. So I think it was just a blip for them. Just like I said, things just not quite working their way. But I think both of them will be up there come towards the end of the season. So
Absolutely. Another good weekend filled with, again, plenty of goals. I'm not sure about the average already would be pretty high. I think the last year's average was pretty high. I have the stats somewhere, but certainly plenty of goals every round. Up next, to finish up our predictions for this coming weekend. But Alessio, how did we do last weekend?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I think everybody probably had a league that they were quite good at predicting. I mean, we all got the Adelaide Uni Cup result rescheduled to be a win. Wait, actually, not Seb, actually. I just remembered it. That was
the adjustments before I announced the scores.
I was thinking about the scores that we all had if any of us were close, but then I remembered, no, someone had a Brassfoot logo, and I think it was Seb. So otherwise, everyone had probably a good week. WNPL actually picked up a lot of results for a lot of us, and so did WSL, probably carried us mostly this week. Some perfect results, though. Go to Seb, picked the Para Hills 2-2 draw in the MPL men's.
I did.
Mark picked the Elizabeth Grove WSL result. I picked the Western Strikers WSL result. And then, a bunch of us got other regular points throughout. We'll go to the tallies now. So last week's leader was Mark with 36 points. He this week picked up 9 points, goes to 45. Last week's second was Seb with 35. He goes to 48 points. He picked up 14 points this week. So he's top at the moment with 48. I picked up 14 as well. And I went to 48 points as well, so we're equal. And David picked up 8 points, so he goes to 37. So Seb and I on 48, Mark on 45, and David on 37.
And I'd just like to take this opportunity to say, if anyone gives me a hard time from our predictions, just remember, I'm trying to win a tipping competition.
But this week with the other leagues coming back, I think there'll be a lot of points up for grabs. I think there could be some, double digits from everyone, I reckon.
Let's start with this weekend's prediction. Of course, State League 2 returns. I'm sure you're very excited about Alessio that happening. We'll start in the north for Elizabeth Downs versus Gawler Eagles. What are we saying?
Oh, here we go. I go first again, don't I? So I'm going to go for Elizabeth Downs to win this one 3-1.
I'll go 3-2 Elizabeth Downs.
I got a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. All right. Next up is
You didn't want to put yours in, Seb? Or?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. No, I was trying to write them in at the same time. I'm saying 3-0 Elizabeth Downs.
Okay.
You said a 2-2 draw, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Yes, in the south, Garn versus Vipers. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw.
I'll go for a draw as well. I'll go 2-2 as well.
I'll go
2-2.
3-1 Vipers for me.
I'll go 2-1 Vipers.
Next up in the WSL, Adelaide Jaguars versus Western Strikers. I'm going 3-1 Jaguars.
I'm going 3-2 Strikers.
I'm going 3-2 strike. I'll go 3-1 Strikers.
I'll go 2-1 Strikers.
I'm outnumbered there. On to State League 1. Adelaide Atletico versus Fulham United. I'm going to go for Adelaide Atletico 1-0.
This is Atletico?
Yes.
Oof. At Enfield's ground. Adelaide Atletico. Oh, no, Adelaide Victory. Oh, hang on. Who plays it? We were talking about this the other week, like when they played the first game, and the paint. I think it was you, Alessio, said about how they repainted and everything like that. I reckon if you scratch the way of the layer, you'll find the blue. Then if you scratch away that layer, you'll find the green. I reckon we could go back a number of years. That one.
I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I'm going to go 3-3.
I'll go 2-2.
Well, I'm going to go Fulham. 2-1.
Next up in the WNPL, we have Salisbury Inter versus Campbelltown City. Tough one, I think, after this past weekend. I'm going to go Inter 3-1.
I'm going to go for an Inter win as well. 2-1.
I'm going to go for an Inter win 4-2.
I'm
I
going
think
to
Coco's
go.
back.
I'm going to go 2-2 draw.
Okay, sitting on the fence, Mark. Like to see it.
Yeah, because I actually think Berks could surprise a few, but I'll go 2-2 draw. Actually, you know what? Let's go Berks. I'm going to get Mitch. I'm going to give him the back.
Is Berks in this game?
Where have you got this?
Is it Salisbury?
Campbelltown, Salisbury.
Campbelltown. Sorry, 2-2 draw.
They're on your mind.
Sorry, I was just looking at the ladder for the other for the WNPL, and I looked at Bacala. Sorry.
Okay,
You know,
2-2
when you
draw.
look at something, it just gives you the.
Yeah.
It gives you that. You think. Oh. So, yes. Sorry.
And then finally, in round 3 of the men's MPL, Sturt Lions versus Metro Stars is very, very enticing. I'm
So
gonna go
have we done W? Oh yeah, we have.
Yeah, we just did. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Mark forgot who the teams were.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Sturt 2-1 at Sturt as well. It's a toughie. Wow, silence too.
It is a tough one. This one.
So, we don't want to draw out though, do we? I'm going to go for a Metro Stars winning this. So the reason I'm saying that is that because that West Adelaide game versus Sturt, West Adelaide for a period of about 25 minutes in the second half were superb, and Sturt were on the ropes even though they were 3-0 up. So Sturt showed signs of fallibility. Is that the right word? Anyway, I'm going to go for a Metro Stars winning this one, 2-0.
I'm going to go 3-1 Metro. I think Sturt got a bit too many injuries to deal with Metro's squad.
Wow. I really thought you were going to go for Sturt, Alessio.
I do. I just they lost Sortini early in the game as well, and I know
They
they've
did.
not got anyone coming back, and they're still missing Jacob Atkinson for another 4 weeks.
How long Sortini out for though?
That I'm not sure, but
Okay.
yeah, and Munro was out on the weekend as well, so
I am going to go. I think it could have lots of goals. So in that case, when I think something like that, I'm going to go Metro 1-0.
Always good fun. All right, that's our predictions done, and our show just about done. Before we finish, where are we this weekend between the four of us? I have 3 games. I'm a busy man this weekend. I've got a double header at West Adelaide, WNPL first against Metro, and then the men's game after between them, West Adelaide and Comets. And then on the Saturday, I'm at Comets for them versus Adelaide Uni. So very busy man, and I've only done research for 2 of the games. So really looking forward to finishing all that off. Mark, what about you?
At this stage, I am at Bacala on Friday night.
Returning home, I see.
Not sure if I'll be on the AI camera or if we'll have a cameraman. I won't actually find that out till tomorrow morning because their AI camera got broken. at Berkel.
What a
Oh, what a
shame.
shame.
What a shame.
I know. So at this stage, I won't know till tomorrow morning if I'm actually commentating with the cameraman or if it's AI. I'm not sure at this stage. So I'm on that game Friday night, and then I have been asked to jump on the Sturt game in the afternoon on Saturday afternoon. I've just got to make sure I can get my child looked after for a period of time. But we should be all good. So that'll be the 2 games. And just, Seb, you're 2 games ahead of me in study. I haven't even started yet for either of my games. So we're all good.
David, for you?
On Friday night, I'll be down at FK Beargrad versus Parahills Knights. I haven't done any research or started any notes for that yet. And then the following day, I'll be at Adelaide City for their tie against Adelaide United. And guess what? I haven't done any research or any commentary notes for that game either.
This isn't a good look for us, the both of you saying this.
For another unprofessional.
It's all right. Plenty of time. Still got 2 days. We're all good.
Alysia, for you, you're playing, of course, this weekend, finally.
Yeah, I'm actually not commentating any games, so I've got no research to do. But yeah, I'll be watching that. That's for sure, and I'll be able to send through some stats if I can think of them if I'm watching any of your guys' games as well. But no, our round 1 is this week. Friday night will be our home game against Noarlunga, and then yes, probably playing on Saturday at 12:45. So I wasn't able to make any other games for commentary. But yeah, I'm keen for the State League 2s to start. I think it's going to be very competitive all round for all clubs, and I'm excited to see some of these new stadiums, new teams as well. And yeah, I think it's going to be a positive season. I think it's going to be more competitive than probably a lot of people think. I think a lot of teams are on similar levels.
Very much looking forward to that. Anything else before we finish off?
I've got a quick question for you, Seb.
Or for me?
I just wondered if any of our listeners had piped up about the connection between Caitlin Zapla at NTC and whether she was any relation to Lachlan Zappa. Did we have anyone writing in?
Yes. Thank you to Paul Morris. It is her brother. They are siblings. So there you go. Your suspicions confirmed of that fact. Thank you for that. Anything else from anyone before we finish? Or forever hold your silence?
Make sure you're heading out to all these games. Yeah, make sure you head out, support your local teams. A lot of these new clubs need the support as well. So yeah, make sure you see us out. If you want to invite us to any of the grounds, I know we've had some requests now to be at some grounds for some content in the next few weeks. So yeah, if you're not happy with our predictions, if you don't think we know enough about your club to make those predictions, then yeah, please invite us out. And we're happy to be at as many games as we can or watch from any games. And yeah, good luck for the weekend for everybody.
And I was just going to say, if anyone wants to sponsor the show this year, by all means, reach out to us and let us know.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thank you to the 3 of you, as always. Enjoy your football this weekend, and we'll see you next week with another guest, I imagine. But until then, enjoy your weekend, and thanks for listening and or watching.
See you then.
And we look like we're heading to extra time, but there's still 5 minutes to play here, Mark. And by all means, there could be more chances. Still in the box, and it's another goal! And it's Andre Cole, the hero for Croydon! We thought it was over, but it's not over, and Croydon look like they're going to go all the way to the win.
We can't say that now. Here goes Yuki Sasaki into the area. Panagakos, Chrissy Panagakos. Adelaide Comets have taken the lead.
Falcon there, but it leaves Owen Windsor. And a third for Metro Stars.
Here's Emma Ryan. She's not one of them because she's from Darwin. The shot from DeCola. Lily DeCola scores in the cup final again and wins it for West Adelaide. As the ball cuts back here to Odenwalder. And James Odenwalder scores. He makes it 2-0 for West Adelaide on the day.
I bet he was going to be Travella if he puts one in. He goes himself instead. And it's still Soy Sakani. It's unbelievable, David, as well. And that one is definitely going to be credited to him.
Will have to be chased down by Rapawano. He'll put in a cross of his own. Hobbs wasn't able to capture it. It's in! It's not the one that steals that Atletico promotion.
I got the skills to make the girls sing, and the geezers too. Yeah, we're doing this thing.